Hey guys, it's been a minute and I want to welcome you back to my channel, More to Health. I have been out for a while and I'll be discussing this with you all today, a little bit about my health journey. So that's the title, my health journey. If you are watching this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share with someone else who you know that may be going through something similar to what I'm going through, and then also leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts, your opinions, and be sure to share this video. So I am going to be discussing my health journey of figuring out or finding out that I had uterine fibroids. So I went to the doctor about maybe a month and a half ago, and I needed to get a checkup anyway, and I went because I was having pelvis pains. And so they did my normal checkup that I would always do, which, by the way, I'm a big believer of going to the doctor often, and I had found out that when I was there, I hadn't been to the doctor since 2015. Don't judge. I have my reasons for why it had been so long, but I didn't really think much about it. So I went to the doctor telling him about the pains, and they went through their, their normal routine that they normally do. And he came back and he wanted me to, he thought what it might have been, but then he wanted me to do an ultrasound. And so I made an appointment, got an ultrasound, and he found out that I had uterine fibroids. Now, when he mentioned the first time about it possibly being fibroids, I researched, and I got all of the worst possible things that fibroids could be, which I don't recommend to people. There are a lot of good things, but then there are some things that can make you a little bit nervous, a little bit scary. And so I wanted to record this video because there isn't a lot of information at all about uterine fibroids, and it is very common in a lot of African American women. It's so crazy because I was telling a lot of people, no, not a lot of people, but I was just talking to people because at first I was going to kind of like keep it to myself. Only because, when you talk about certain things, I just felt like it was one of those things where it was like bad, but not bad. And so because it wasn't like bad, people might think that it's not bad, but it's actually, a lot that you go through. And so I'll kind of discuss all of that with you later. Like I said, this is just a way for me to kind of like vent and just to talk about my testimony, and then also have other people go along with me during my health journey. So again, when he told me that I could have possibly had uterine fibroids, I was thinking like, okay, what is this? Is this cancerous? When you say tumor, because what fibroids are is a non-cancerous or benign tumor that can form inside of your uterus or can form outside of your uterus. And for a lot of different people, they have different symptoms. So for some people, it causes them to have a heavy menstrual cycle. That wasn't the case for me. And if it was, I just never really noticed it because I've always wore, oh, and yeah, we're talking about uterine fibroids, cycles and all of that. So you're going to be talking about stuff that some people are not going to be comfortable with. So I was just always used to wearing a tampon and pad at the same time, didn't really think much about it. So my cycle could have been heavy. I didn't think that it really was. I thought that it was just kind of normal. The reason why I went to the doctor again is because I was having pelvis pains. And so I went to the doctor and he told me that I researched. And for me, well, I'll just get into it. So I came back and got my ultrasound. They didn't really show me my ultrasound. I just took a picture of it so that I can keep it, and I'll insert the picture here. So in this picture that you see here, that was the size of it. So when he came back, he told me that I had a fibroid about this big. And after research, I kind of understand now some of the symptoms, and I didn't know that that was going on, but now knowing what the symptoms are, I kind of understand it. So for me, I was using the bathroom a lot, depending on where your fibroid is sitting. It can press against your bladder, And then I also dealt with constipation. So I had a big one, and then I had a few small ones too. Now, for my faith people who are listening to this, I am just telling you my story. I am believing, and everybody's journey is different. I am believing for complete healing. I am talking to you about what happened at the doctor, but I don't say I have or I have a lot when I'm talking to people, because I'm in a faith fight. So when I talk to people, I say I believe I'm healed from fibroids. I'm just talking to you now just because I feel like I just wanted something to be open and candid for people to feel comfortable to share. And like again, I said, there's not a lot of information about uterine fibroids, and it's very common in an African American community. For a lot of people, it could be hereditary, and that was the case for me. And then also, they have a whole bunch of different reasons of where it comes from, but no one really understands what causes uterine fibroids. And so uterine fibroids can be the size of a grape all the way up to a grapefruit. Some people have had some the size of melons or even watermelons. And those were some of the stories that I saw on YouTube that were kind of like horrific. But I mean, that's just what goes on in people's lives. So when I think about the lady with the issue of blood, it makes me think of uterine fibroids, because I've heard one story where a young lady, and I first found out about uterine fibroids was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Cynthia Bailey, she was talking about it. And so as I was researching other alternatives, because my doctor gave me one choice, and when I was researching other alternatives, Cynthia Bailey, she explained her journey, and she talked about how one time she was at the dinner table and she felt like a little gush. She had on like a formal dress, she felt like a gush, and she was just bleeding all down her legs. And she talked about how she was getting on the elevator and her husband was trying to stop people from speaking to her, and they didn't realize that she was standing like in a puddle of blood. So that was kind of like my first time hearing about it, and she talked about her journey and different alternatives that she used. So that was my first time ever hearing anything about it. So when I went to my doctor, he told me that I would have to have a myosectomy. And if you're unfamiliar with what a myosectomy is, it's basically a C-section where they will go in, make a cut in your bikini line, and they would remove the fibroids from your uterus. There are positives and negative things to that. For some, if you are bleeding out, if you're bleeding a lot, it could cause you to lose your uterus, which would then cause you to not be able to have kids. And other reasons for a myosectomy, you could have infertility. There are a lot of things that can go on wrong with the myosectomy, but there are a lot of things that can go right with the myosectomy, like you can get them removed and not have any issues, have kids and not be a problem. So there are always pros and cons for it. That was the option that they gave me, and they told me that I would have to have a C-section and would be out for 6 weeks. At first I was like, well, let me just go ahead and do it and get it over with. Vacation, not vacation, but the holidays are coming up, so that'll be time for me to kind of like, you know, be out but not really miss much at work, because it's the holidays and you already have vacation days anyway. But then after I left the hospital, I found out for me that that wasn't my best option. And he also told me, he asked me, was I dating? And I said no at that time. I wasn't in a relationship. I am now, but at that time I wasn't in a relationship. And he asked me, well, he told me, he was like, well, I know you can't do much about it, but you need to get pregnant soon. And my first thought was, yeah, I know that the doctor has to tell you certain things so that you can kind of be mindful of it. But my second thought was like, I mean, what you want me to do? You want to go to Walmart on aisle 3 and pick up a man? So it was like, that's not really helping my situation. And when you get a diagnosis at the doctor, for some people, you know, it's a lot. I don't like to cry in front of people, so that was something that I wasn't going to do. But when I got to my car, I did. My parents were out of town, so I couldn't call them, so I had to kind of just keep all of that to myself for a while. I didn't know what options to choose. I didn't have any research, any books, anything, any information. And throughout this journey, not on this video, but I'm going to do some videos telling you what I've learned now, what books I've used, my method of healing that I'm choosing to follow, and different things like that. So this will be my journey through my healing process. I am a believer. I do believe that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So I believe that I'm already healed, and I'm believing that I'll see the manifestation in my body. That's my confession. I do my healing scriptures every day. There are days where I miss it, but the word is medicine. And so I am a firm believer of God being healing. He's done it before in my life, and I know that He can do it again. And so that is where my faith is at. So I do want to have, and if you're a person who are going through certain things when it comes to your healing, I don't think that there's nothing wrong with talking about the symptoms, but I don't think that you should constantly wallow in your symptoms. I don't know if that makes sense, but you have to believe God's word is true even when you feel pain and feel a certain type of way. And that's not denying that the symptoms are real, but that is believing that God can heal you, and faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And for me, I have built up my faith because He's done it before. I built up my faith in the healing area before, and so I constantly am listening to healing scriptures, healing CDs, healing tapes. Some that I'm currently listening to: Gloria Copeland, Kenneth Hagee. My dad has a healing scripture CD that I'll be talking to you guys about as well, that I do confessions every day in the car, on my work and coming home from work. So that's medicine that I do twice a day. And then that's the spiritual side that I chose to take. But then there's a natural side, and for me, I have researched and found there are a lot of things that you should eliminate from your diet, and I have taken those measures as well. And I'm still learning. This still is a journey. I chose to do a different procedure, or get some more information about a procedure. I did an MRI, and I'll be discussing that information with the doctor on Monday, and it's in Atlanta. And so I just basically wanted to welcome you into my healing journey. If you've ever experienced fibroids or have had fibroids, it can, especially when you're in your cycle, and if you're bleeding a lot, it can cause you to be anemic, which is what I was told that I was anemic. So there are days where you wake up in the morning and you are exhausted, and I had been like that for months. And I first was just thinking that I was like super lazy, like I couldn't do stuff, and I was just like, I had no energy, not just physically but like mentally. And I just felt like I had no energy to do anything, and I was just thinking that I was just being super lazy. And then after a while, and you really have to listen to your body, after a while I was starting to notice like this isn't right. Like, I would get 10 hours of sleep and still be tired. And I remember one weekend just sleeping the whole weekend, and I still was tired on that Monday. So for me, I had a loss of energy, super moody. I'll be bringing my boyfriend in, and we'll be talking about my moodiness. To all the men who have to deal with women who have fibroid challenges, I applaud you, because it is a lot. For me, I never in a million years thought at the age of 33 I would be dealing with it, but this is my journey. And for a lot of people back in the day, a hysterectomy was the only choice that they had, which means that you would have to take out your uterus and you couldn't have kids. But nowadays, there are so many options that you can do. You just have to do your research. The myosectomy, which is a surgery one that I talked about, is what they recommend for women who are trying to have kids. And again, I just believe that God is a healer, and that my fibroids will shrink and will disappear. Because for some people, they have fibroids and it doesn't bother them, and if it doesn't bother you, you don't bother it. Like I said, because it's benign. I think it was like a 2% or 9%, 2 to 9% or something chance that they could be cancerous. So there's just a lot of things with it. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm still learning. As I said, you can leave a comment below because you may know more things than me, because I'm still learning and it's still a journey for me. But I did want to create a video just to express my thoughts. I'm in a writing small group, and normally we would write it, and I told them that I was going to vlog mine and do videos about my health journey. So this is my homework assignment, and I wanted to share this information with you. I know I'm going to get this question or this people telling me if you could do anything for me, if you have any information, please let me know. Also, just be believing God with me that I am healed from this tumor, from tumors, or however many, you know, that they have diagnosed me with. You can be believing God with me on that. And then also just be an encourager and an uplifter. That would be really, really good. Just communication really in this process. So when you see videos, you know, giving me your thoughts and feedback will really, really help me, because my love language is communication and quality time and talking. So this will really bless me if you would like to help me in any type of way. Emotionally, just kind of be an encourager, I guess. That would be a blessing for me, because there have been days where I literally have not wanted to get out of the bed, but I still had to get out and function. And then there were days where my cycle is very, very painful. And for me, again, mine hasn't been the cycle of bleeding and tiredness, which I have had some of those experiences, but mine has been excruciating pain. And mine is in a position to where it hurts in my pelvis and then in my back area. So it's like a throbbing, constant pain in my back area. And I'm currently doing a chiropractor right now, and I've also looked into acupuncture as well. So again, this is my journey. I do yoga, also doing hot yoga. I'm going to be talking about how stress plays a big factor in your healing process. And if you're stressed out about your diagnosis, or if you're stressed out about life or work or whatever it is, it can manifest in your body, and I'm a big firm believer of it. I was reading and researching, and one of the ladies who I researched, she said that for some women, fibroids is a resemblance of you not filling out your purpose, or feeling like you're stuck either in work or relationships or whatever it may be. And so I do believe that your body and stress levels and different things that you go on in life will affect your health. Again, I thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any comments or questions, please leave me those questions or comments below, and I will be doing another video talking with you soon. I thank you so much. Also, if you want to see the updates, make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you can get updates from me each time that I post. And I'll see you all on next time. Next time, I will be talking to you about some of the ways that I am going about through my healing process, such as chase tree berries, also black shot molasses. And so I'll give you that whole process of what I'm doing right now, the healing scriptures and prayers and different things like that. So it's going to be fun, it's exciting. And then I'll also be doing a video going to the doctor on Monday, so I'll bring you all in through that process, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye.